Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning. So I want to welcome you here again on behalf of the New Jersey Council for Community Colleges and the Success Center. It gives me great pleasure to announce our presenter this morning, Christine Tomkus, who is a planning associate at New Jersey Department of Education. This is basically a session to learn about the NJCAN, which is New Jersey Career Assistance Navigator. And it's a comprehensive tool to assist students and adults in navigating career pathways to determine realistic plans for their future. So exactly what our commissioner was talking about. So without further ado, Christine.
Thank you very much. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our New Jersey Career Assistance Navigator training workshop this morning. I wanted to just start off by thanking you for all taking the time to come to the presentation today, and just give you a little bit of a background about me and what I've been doing and who I am and why I think that this is really important for you to know about and also to share with people. Just a preview of this workshop, the New Jersey Career Assistance Navigator website is free and it is open to any New Jersey resident to use. There are lots of perks to the website, which I will share with you, and I will bring the website up and show you how to access that and also provide you all the details that you'll need to know to establish an NJCAN, with our acronym NJCAN, for you to be able to implement this in your work areas. Okay, so before I go into that, I just want to get an idea of who is in the room today. So do we have anyone that works with middle school students right now in the room? Okay, and what about secondary schools? Okay, post-secondary? Okay, and how many of you are working in like the career advisor type of position, guidance counselor? Okay, great. All right, well, welcome everyone. So my background, I'm actually very new with the Department of Education. My background, I'm a military spouse. I've worked in many places, well, not too many places in the country, but I am from New Jersey, born and raised, lived in South Jersey. It's a bit different from North Jersey, if anyone's from North Jersey, so I might not talk fast enough, but I did live in North Dakota for a couple years. My husband went through boot camp in the Air Force 10 years ago, and he called me and he said, honey, we're getting orders to Japan. And I said, oh, that's wonderful. I love sushi. I want to go overseas. And then he said, honey, I'm just kidding. We're going to North Dakota. And I was like, don't come home. And then I hung up because I was like, I don't know anyone in North Dakota. And here I am. You know, my husband joined the military after he went to college. And so I was in my mid-20s. And I'm like, well, we have a mortgage. We didn't have children yet. We now have 4 of them that are first grade and younger. So, I mean, finances were important at the time, you know. So it was really important for me to get a job. And I'll tell you, a girl from South Jersey that's trying to get a job in North Dakota, kind of scary. But you just do what you have to do. And so a lot of the strategies that you're probably teaching your students about job searching are, I've lived it, I've felt it. I know many military spouses who struggle. We have that transient lifestyle where we're moving around. It's hard to get a job for, you know, moving so often. But, you know, that I think, and so this is a passion of mine. This is really important to me, especially having young children entering school now. I know the workforce is getting harder as time goes on, and it's just going to be more competitive to get jobs. And so it is important to use this time in school to get that knowledge of careers earlier on nowadays. So I didn't live in North Dakota too long. I was there for about 2 years, and then we did get orders to Kansas, which was great. I worked for the county government there, Sedgwick County government in Wichita. Anyone ever lived in Kansas before? No? Okay, it's a nice place, better than North Dakota. North Dakota's pretty cold. Anyone ever lived there before? Everyone ever visit there before? Okay, well, just cold, so that's all you need to know. Okay. So Kansas was a great experience, and I got to do some program management. I finished up my master's degree. I have a master's in business administration. And then once we came back to New Jersey, I worked really mostly with military. And that's really where I found my passion in career readiness. So my experience working with the military, I trained the military on how to get jobs. So yeah, that sounds pretty cool. And so you're kind of doing that also, working with your students. So let me just give you a little glimpse. Has anyone ever served in the military in here? Okay, great, thank you for your service. What branch were you?
I'm in the Army Reserve.
You're in the Army Reserves currently. Thank you for your service. Okay, how many of you know somebody who has served or is currently serving? Okay, great. Anyone know what is the percentage of the population that currently serves in the military?
1%.
1%. Anyone else know that? Anyone else know that? Fun facts. Yeah, 1% right now is currently working in the military of our country. So when I was working with this 1% of the population, I had the pleasure of working with all the different services: Coast Guard, Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, Reserves, Guard, everyone. And one thing that I saw in the almost 4 years that I was working with them was that there was one common thing that they felt, and that was scared. They were scared. And you think about it, like I worked with Marines who'd been overseas, who saw a lot of things that they don't want to come home and talk about. But one thing, the biggest fear at that point was not going back to deploy again. It was getting a job in the civilian workforce. I mean, really, my brother-in-law was 101st Airborne. He was deployed overseas when the mosque exploded, 10, 12 years ago. And so these people were scared to get a job. Now, think about their situation though. They went to high school, okay? So they got their high school diploma or GED, and then they had a job. They worked in the military. They learned skills to have a job, a trade, or whatever leadership roles that they had, but they had work experience. And then they were mandated when they decided that it was time for them to separate from the military or retire from the military. Separating means that you're not doing the 20 years that it would take you to retire, or you're not medically retired. So you might have someone who's been in the military for 3 or 4 years, high school graduate, did 3 years in the Army, and then they get out and then they're ready to move on to a civilian career. Anyone know what happens in a military member's transition before they go back to the civilian workforce? They're required to take a 5-day class called TAP, and it's called the Transition Assistance Program. And my job was to teach them part of the TAP class. The first 2 days was really focusing on how to budget your money. Do high school kids learn how to budget their money right now? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do. Kind of, a little bit. They're supposed to, right? So the program that I worked for was through the Department of Labor, the United States Department of Labor, because the government, the Department of Defense, there was actually a collaboration between the Department of Defense and the Department of Labor, and government likes to contract a lot, so I was a contractor for the Department of Labor, and the Department of Labor and the Department of Defense said, you know what, it's so important for this 1% of our country to learn how to get a job, because they've done their due diligence, they've worked for us, they've defended our country. But when you think about like the little details of these individuals, they were high school graduates or GED, and they had work experience. Think about the high school students that you work with right now. They have not even gotten that much, right? And the government is saying that these individuals have to take a 5-day class, mandatory, to take a 5-day class to learn how to budget your money. Okay, learn resiliency training. Okay, yes, you've been in the military, it's time to move on. Here's how it's going to be different in the civilian workforce. And then they take 3 days where they hear from me, and they did give me a round of applause by the 3rd day, the end of it. I was very happy about that, 3 days with me. And they learned how to market themselves, how to network, how to write a resume, how to find jobs, okay? Everything that it takes to find, to be successful in their job path. And a lot of these individuals did not want to stay in the same type of career path that they learned working in the military. Not all of them wanted to, work on the aircraft and know how to fix an aircraft. They wanted to change things, go back to school perhaps, and then move on. And so my knowledge and experiences working with military gives me a lot more passion, when it comes to the NJCAN website and working with the Department of Education, because it's the same group of people. We're working with these young adults, many of them that they're going through high school right now. Maybe they're going to community college right now. But the difference in the two populations is that the military members are mandated to go through this 5-day training. And if we can make our high school kids have something like that, I think it would really help them be much more successful. And one of the tools that can help them to be that much more successful is this NJCAN, New Jersey Career Assistance Navigator website. So I'm going to take some time to go over a few slides with you and then show you the details of the websites. But anyone have any questions before I get started, or any thoughts about anything? Okay, all right. You want to hear another fun fact? Well, here's another question. I always like to mess with my military members. Anyone know where, and ma'am, see, because they say ma'am and sir a lot in the military. You don't have to answer this question. Anyone know where the United States Coast Guard boot camp is? It's Cape May. Cape May. How many? Yeah.
We're at Cape Community College. We teach classes with them.
Okay, great. Okay. Okay, so getting started here. New Jersey Career Assistance Navigator website, and I'll use the microphone if you guys, could you hear me okay in the back before? Okay. I have 4 kids, so I do tend to get very loud, so just excuse me for that. So it is really important to know, times have changed. In 1967, the average annual household income was $7,200. A trip to Disney World is $7,200 now, right? It's a big difference, especially with 4 kids. It's a big difference nowadays than it used to be. That was only 50 years ago. What do you think is going to happen in 50 years from now? Technology is increasing so quickly right now that you need to buy a new computer like every few years. I know we had my laptop maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. We bought one that's like already completely out of date. I need to get another one. So times are changing. The job market has also changed drastically. Okay, STEM careers, the STEM is the big hot topic, the buzzword of the last couple years now. STEM careers are on the move. We need to start using that language with our younger population so they understand what that means. Oh, well, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. My son, who is 6 in kindergarten, he makes these incredible things with Kinects. And I don't say, good job, buddy, way to go, that's awesome, let's take a picture and hang it on the fridge. I say, hey, you could be an engineer. Maybe you can build robots with that someday. So how many parents think of that way right now? Of course, we're all so super busy, but I'm like a career freak, so I like this kind of stuff. This is my passion. I talk to my kids about, hey, you're jumping off the couch, maybe you want to jump out of helicopters in the Army someday, I don't know. You just have to make those little connections of how, the daily tasks that your students are doing could mean some type of career. And the thing is that the high school kids, middle school, even community college students, they may not know what the word is. They may not know what those words mean. What is an engineer? Okay, well, let's Google the definition of an engineer. Let's see what the different, types of engineers there are. Well, this website will show you, NJCAN will show you those different career paths and those different options. Okay? So again, the job market has changed drastically. We want to be able to be more successful and just keep that in mind that they may not know what we know when it comes to the different terms of the types of careers that are out there. Okay, programs and resources for career readiness continue to grow. In the last, I graduated maybe 20 years ago. I don't even remember all the different services that they had 20 years ago in high school compared to nowadays with all the different options that there are, people that are helping to try to help you, direct you in your career path. So it's just going to continue to grow. And we want to be able to attend these different workshops and be a part of that growth so we can give our students the best opportunities that they can to move forward in their career path. Okay, students need a reliable support system to help them with their decision making. And we work with students of all different types of backgrounds, different lifestyles, so it is a very unique situation. Every student is different, every student is unique. And we want to be a part of that support system with them to help them grow. So there's many people that we might think are going to be positive to individuals in the student support system, but remember back in the day when you were 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, younger than that even, their support systems, when I was a kid, maybe I'm wrong, my support system was different than what my parents thought it would be. Okay, so we have to kind of remember where they're coming from and think about what is going to help them with their unique situation to help them grow in their career path. Okay, career readiness planning will help reduce a student's stress with the next steps in their career path as well as when they land their first real job. Remember, the whole purpose of going to school is to get that knowledge and information to get them a job someday, okay? And we have to make that connection earlier on before they, the decisions can't be made. It's almost too late to even make a decision when you're, in 11th, 12th grade and then say, okay, well, at least at that point they should have some ideas of what they like, some thoughts about what they're interested in doing. Okay, because that will help them in their career path and it will reduce that stress. because when you get a job, no matter whether you're 18 or 16 or 25 or 45, that may not be the job you're going to have forever. Okay, and so the thought of applying to another job or using those skills to interview or those career ready practices, those like soft skills, that's going to something that should be learned early on, because it's only going to be something that continues to grow. Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But when they're landing their first real job, again, it's just the whole idea of that preparation, the career ready strategies that we can help work with them to help them grow in their career path. Okay, so I talked about a support system and how I feel like that is a very important part of a student's growth in their career path. So I have a little graph here that we'll be showing you in a moment. What would you say is someone who is a part of a student's career support system right now? Okay, so here's you, and who else would you say? In a student's mind frame, put yourself in the student's mind. Parents, friends, teachers, right? Okay, parents, and not in any particular order. School staff, friends. Anyone else? Media. I don't even have that here, but yeah, I put a coach, media coach. Okay, a dog. I'm a dog person. 17 years old. I've known him longer than my husband. But somebody, maybe something, that they are. The dog's always the happiest thing to see me when I get home. So. Family, friends, relatives, and media, social media, definitely would be something, a part of that. And I think probably in the friends category would be where that would fit mostly. Okay, so the student support system, it's really important for us to remember that as we use these tools and resources to help them grow in their career path. Okay, so why are we thinking and why are we here to talk about NJCAN? Okay, well, it's free. Who doesn't like something free? Besides like the free Wawa sushi deals or the gas station sushi. Nobody wants that kind of freeness. We like the stuff that's free, that's going to be good, worthwhile, and helpful in our lives. And NJCAN is something that is free. It is really, we pay for it at the state for individuals to use it. And again, it is open to New Jersey residents. And it's also really targeted for middle school students and high school, post-secondary school students, but really it's really open to anyone. I actually had my first grader and kindergartner use some of the assessments on there, and I just said, hey, kids, why don't you just take a look at this? It's something that might help you think about what you want to do when you're bigger and whatever. And they sat down, and I don't really let them watch TV much or use tablets, or that's just the kind of mommy I am. But I said, okay, let's, this is something kind of neat, and they were so into it, and seriously for an hour each, they sat there and they were answering assessment questions that were very simple, and I helped them if they didn't know the words, and they were just clicking through with the mouse. They took the mouse from me, and they were so excited to use it. That was like a month ago, and just honestly, just maybe 4 or 5 days ago, my son came up, Mom, I was doing something on like taxes or something on the computer. Mom, can I do that game where I can see what I want to do when I grow up? I was like, oh, that's nice, honey, but I'm working on adult things right now. So, but it was really neat that a 6-year-old was like, hey, I want to know what all these things are. I want to know what all these, it's not just like the fireman or police officer or the teacher anymore, like a traditional kid would say in kindergarten. It's like, hey, like he knows what an engineer is, he knows what a marine biologist is and what they do. He wants to be a scuba diver / engineer someday. So, kudos for my little guy. But my point is that it is really easy to use, and it really has some really great resources on there. And it targets students as young as 6th grade. And like I said, I will show you that to you. Students, there's a part of it, it's called NJCAN Junior, and it targets students as early as 6th grade. It has the reading level is a 6th grade reading level. There is also an elementary school option that hopefully would be available to New Jersey at some point. I'll definitely be an advocate for that if we find that it is a good tool to use for our elementary students. And again, it would be on their level. Okay. It allows the students to take control of their interests and career path on their own. One thing that I've seen in my experiences is that the students nowadays feel a little bit more entitled, and I know that employers, because I've worked with, especially working in the Department of Labor in the past, employers they know about, their big thing right now is those career-ready practices, those soft skills. When a student or a new employee comes in and they can't do a job, they kind of give up. Okay, well, I don't know how to do it. Well, troubleshoot, think about it. What kind of tools are in your toolbox to figure out how to work around the problem, be a problem solver, right? It's just a lot of students in the younger generation, they just feel like, oh, I'm going to give up, or they feel like entitled to things a little bit too often nowadays. This is something that they can use on their own. It's them developing their own path. It's not us saying, okay, you need to click here, you need to click there. They can do that on their own and make those decisions to develop it how they see fit. They have the ability to allow the guidance counselor or the advisor to see their results in the NJCAN if they want to. They don't have to. So it is something that they can take control of. It has everything you need to succeed. Working with the military, you start out simple. Okay, well, what do you want to do? You're getting out of the military. What do you want to do? Okay, what kind of career path are you interested in? You have some skills. You don't have to use those skills if you want to go into a different field. So what is it that you want to do? So career assessments, those skills, thinking about those work preferences and all those other items. That's step one. NJCAN has that, okay, that planning phase, okay, what do you want to do? It moves you through everything to where can you get your education, what kind of employment opportunities are out there, what is the pathway to get to that type of education or that type of job, what do I need to do that to succeed, and it even gives you the ability to put your resume up there, to build your own resume, and to do some job searching as well. Okay, and by the way, you should check out the reality check feature, so stay tuned for some fun with that. There's a really great feature that we have on the site that's definitely going to help you, and students very much become more aware of what does the world cost. If I am say a dental assistant compared to a dentist, what are the differences in salary? So it gives them the opportunity to see what kind of lifestyle they want. Financially, how much do they have to make to live that lifestyle? Okay, do I want a 3-bedroom house or an apartment? And so that's called the reality check, and we'll show you that shortly. How does NJCAN work? I talked a little bit about that to get started. The planning phase right there, starting out with planning. You have the ability to take assessments, looking up those various occupations, looking at your education, which direction you want to go. Those are in school. You can plan your courses for high school. Whatever stage you are in your educational career, your employment information, and then there is a portfolio that you can have your information saved in there to just go back and reflect on things and take notes and things like that. Okay, remember, it's the students, teachers, parents, it's all of us working together to make that connection with the student and just to collaborate on their career path. And I thought this quote was pretty nice. Set out from any point. And it kind of goes with a little picture there. They are all alike. They all lead to a point of departure. Okay? And same thing with your career. You're moving forward in one direction, and when you're ready to take the next step, it's a step of departure to move on to something else, something wonderful. Okay? And really the big picture here is there are many paths to one future, just as Commissioner Fichtner had spoken about this morning. There's many ways that we can get to the direction that we want to go, whether it is community college, or whether it is doing an apprenticeship or vocational school, or whatever it is that the student wants to do. There's so many different ways to achieve that. There's so many resources out there. It's just a matter of them knowing that information, understanding that information, and us trying to help them to make those best choices that are in their best interest with whatever financial abilities they have or support systems they have. Okay, so many paths to one future. So now I'd like to go ahead and open up the website here and show you some really amazing information that you can share. Okay, so here is the website, the New Jersey Career Assistance Navigator, and it is a collaboration with the Department of Education and the Department of Labor and Workforce Development. Okay, to get started with using the website, the Department of Education are kind of like the entity that can open up the doors for you to have access to this. Now, as a New Jersey resident, any of you could go on at any time and just click here, and all you really have to do is enter your zip code and your town, and then it'll show you, and then you'll have access to the site. The difference here is that you're not going to be able to save the information that you are going through, okay, using the New Jersey resident. Okay, so if you're if you're super excited to get started with this, feel free to just go ahead and use that feature to learn more about it. Before, what we would be able to do to help you is to give you access to the sites, okay? The Department of Education will create a username and password for anyone interested in using the NJCAN website. Typically what happens is a school will let us know that they are interested in using NJCAN. Maybe there's a couple teachers or faculty or administrators or whoever. We would give you access to the site. What will happen then is that you'll be able to have username and passwords established for whoever teachers or anyone that's interested. Now we'll give you that first username and password. You'll go in with your username and password we provide, and then you'll have to change your password. Okay? There's a couple security questions that you'll have to answer that'll be saved in there. So just same thing. Everyone knows how to set up an account. Okay. Now what you'll do if you are going to be working with your students, you're going to give them access to the site. We're not giving them username and passwords. You're going to give them access to the site, and I'll show you where you can upload the student username and passwords. And then they will do the same thing. If you have 20 students or 400 students that you're working with, there's an easy way to do it. It might be a little time consuming in the beginning part, but then you'll be fine, okay? So I'll log in here, and I thought it would be helpful to show you the different screens that you'll basically see when you're using the site. So you'll have like an administration side where you're like the teacher or administrator. You'll have the student side, which the student will see. I want to show you what the student sees when they're in there. And also parents have access. And that's really important too, because remember, we're trying to build our support system here with the students. Parents we want them to be a part of it. We know it's hard for parents because of schedules and work and juggling this and that. It's hard for them to be able to be a part of everything with their student with every step of the way. So that's why we're there, and that's why we're supporting them. But an easy way to help them be a part of the students' learning experiences is to provide them access to the NJCAN website, where they can log in and they can view the student's portfolio. So it's a really easy way, and I'm going to show you some examples of how that'll look. So starting off, we'll go ahead in here, and I thought we would start with a teacher account. And these are just dummy accounts that I created here. Let me just make sure I have the correct password. Okay, so here you have the administrator account. So the school is Tomka School. The teacher here is Yoda, and here is the dashboard for Yoda. You see that the headings here, you have the reports, the portfolios and groups, other accounts, customized, help, and links. Now, what I'll show you over here is some of the details that you'll be kind of curious about. The portfolio. Well, right now, there's 5 different usernames that I have. So Yoda has 5 different students under him that he's working with, and so within those 5 students, there's been 24 logins since August 1st. Okay, so it shows you there's 5 active portfolios right there. So not a whole lot that you can click around here, look at their portfolio. Who has the portfolios, click on the ones that you want to look at a little bit more in detail. So that's just a little snapshot in the site administration account. Okay, now if you want to go directly to the NJCAN website, if you want to explore on the site in your account, you can just click on go to NJCAN. Okay, so just a little, some other details here. The modules with saved records. So the students who have gone in and taken some assessments, you'll see, and again with 5 students, we haven't done a whole lot here, but some of these assessments that are available to students. Career cluster inventory, interest profiler, reality check, which I'm going to definitely show you, skills, and then there's occupations, schools that the student wants to save, schools that they're looking at, occupations that they're looking at, then they have the ability to do that. Okay? Any questions on this page so far? Yes?
So if you just log in as a New Jersey resident, can you still take those assessments? They just won't save, or you need the account?
Yes, you can take the assessments, but they will not save. Okay?
Thanks.
Good question. Okay, so I'll show you a little bit about the different headings here. Okay, so reports, you'll see that we have some various, let me pull that up for you. In the reports section, this is where the teacher or whoever has the account can create some reports, whatever they're interested in knowing about their students. Like remember, if you have 20 or 5 students or 400, whichever you're working with, you can have an account summary, modules with saved records. There's some favorites. You can take a look at some of the favorites in there. Who's got resumes, any other files. There are other functions on the site where you can do different sorts, financial aid sort, an occupation sort, and a school sort. And those sorting is where you have like 500 million different job opportunities. And then you click through and show what your interests are. And then it narrows it down to maybe 100 million. And then it narrows it down, you identify what you're interested in, and it just keeps on funneling down to like smaller number of what kind of jobs are available based on your interests. And that's what the sort is. Okay, so the school sort is the same, okay? Planning tools, there's the application tracker, career plan, checklist. So one thing about this site that's nice is that you really can't break it. You just can explore. I know that some people, and I'm very guilty of this too, I'm a little afraid of technology sometimes. I shouldn't be, but I am. And so, if I click on this, where is it going to take me? Or what am I going to do? Am I going to lose everything? It's really user-friendly. You're really not going to have a hard time using it. And again, your headings are right there. Click back or log out, log back in, and just go back to square one. There's really only a number of different directions you can go on the site, and they all kind of lead to the same way. So again, your website itself is showing you many paths to one future. So lots of different ways that you can navigate it. Okay, the assessments, I'm a big fan of these assessments because I think that students get excited about them too. They like knowing, details, or they like validating what kind of career path they really might enjoy. If they have some ideas or thoughts about a various career path that they'd like to pursue, these assessments can really show them, hey, yeah, one of the top 10 is an engineer or a biologist or whatever. And that validates them. Oh, good. Well, maybe I really am. Maybe that I should do that instead of acting. Maybe that's a better choice for me, right? So really nice different assessments that you'll have there. A learning style survey is a really nice assessment too, because some people learn better via auditory, visual or tactile, or what is it? Tactile, right? Yeah, tactile. So various ways that we learn and gain information. And we can identify, okay, well, am I a better auditory learner or visual learner? So that's all included in here. And remember, it's free and it's easy to use. Okay? In the portfolio and groups area here, you'll see that you have ability to control your students' account information in some small ways, okay? The student, if they forget what their password is, or they didn't write it down in the right spot, and their dog ate their password papers or whatever, you can go in and reset their passwords. It's very easy to do that. And the same thing, when you are going to create passwords for your students and usernames, you want them to keep track of that, but if you need to change it, you'll be able to change that very easily. Let me show you where you can create the accounts for your students. Okay? So if you want to add one portfolio, if there's one student that you're working with, this is where you would go. Add one portfolio, and here's what you do. You create their username, create their password, what is their first name, what is their last name. If you want to fill in their graduation year, it's all up to you, whatever you'd like to do. This does not expire. Their accounts do not expire also, just so you know, when they are going, if they're graduating school, it's not something that is going to be turned off at that point. It's something that they'll still have access to down the road. Okay? So back to the accounts here. This is where if you're uploading several portfolios. Okay? We have a portfolio upload template. And what you'll have to do, this might take some creativity, where I'm just going to wait for this to load up, hopefully it won't take too long. It's basically an Excel spreadsheet where you'll be able to write down first name and last name of the student and what is their username and password, and then you'll be able to upload the spreadsheet into the site, and it'll just deliver those username and passwords to the students. So this is what it looks like. Okay, the green items there are ones that are required to include. So I was at a training, an NJCAN junior training, which is the middle school version. just about a month ago, and the staff said, well, we've got 400 kids. How can we, create username and passwords for 400 kids in an easy way? It would take forever. Well, they also have MacBooks or Airbooks or some type of technology tablet in the classrooms that they're using with their students, and they have the username and passwords for them already on a spreadsheet. Hey, well, let's make it easy for the students. Let's just use their username and passwords from that and upload it into here. And we could probably copy and paste the username and passwords, put it right in here, and then there you go. Boom, you're done. So it's pretty easy. But this is where, however many portfolios you need to create, you can go in there and create them there. Okay. Again, if you have to reset passwords, you can do that in here. Edit them. Okay. View hidden portfolios. View deleted portfolios. If you want to add groups, you can add groups. Okay. Other accounts. Maintaining parent accounts. Okay. If a parent is interested in an NJCAN account, they're welcome to have one created for them. You're welcome to create one for them. Again, same process where you're creating a username and password for them, and they will go in and log in with that username and password, and then they have to change that password. So again, same type of security questions. They're not going to have the same type of visibility that you have on the student's account. It'll be a little bit different. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay. The next couple items here are customizing the site to make it more appealing to however you would like it to look. Various checklists that you can take a look at. There's also helps and links listed here. There's tools, okay? Tools and tutorials for you as well. One thing I'd like to show you is that there's curriculum also in here. There's over 175 or so different items of curriculum. So if you are just interested in using some of the resources of the site, you're welcome to do that. Just print off some of the different activities here. Let's see here. They have it broken down into different categories: getting started, looking deeper, and next steps. Okay? So let's just look at any career plan for getting started. And then here you go. So breaking it down into those different categories, whichever activity you're looking at, getting started or looking deeper into a career path, or what are the next steps in your career path. So you'll see a day in the life of, a piece of the puzzle, advice for my child. Okay, let's go back actually, since I've been talking about engineers. Architects and engineers, here's an activity. And so it breaks it down for you, the different steps that you can use working in the classroom, and it's all right here. So just print it out, use it in the class, whatever is interesting to you. You might want to take a look ahead of time because, again, there's 175 or so different choices here of curriculum that you can use within your classes. Okay, variations, accommodations, there is assessments, portfolio, materials. Here you can just click on the materials. There's a PowerPoint. Compare occupations worksheet, okay, goals and standards. So, there you go. It'll take a minute to download some of these, but you'll see that really nice resources to use in the classroom. So here you have a compare occupations worksheet. Okay, and this is something the student can work on, during whatever time allotted they have during the day to focus on their careers or do some exploration. These are some things that you can just have available to them pretty quickly and easily, or you can direct them to these different worksheets on their site. If you're giving them a little homework and you want them to take a look at some career opportunities, then tell them to find the Compare Occupations worksheet and ask them to have that in, within the next day or two, for them to just do that exploration on their own. Okay? Any questions so far on the site administration teacher side of the website? Yes?
Mandatory was the first and last name. If they input zip code, will that have any repercussions when you're looking at schools? Like, will it give them closer schools, or it's really all disconnected?
It is pretty disconnected. Okay. Yeah. So when they're doing their school searching, they can look at the schools based on. And do you mean when they're exploring schools?
Yes.
Okay. So when they're exploring schools, they are able to do that by career cluster itself, right. Location, and there's a couple different ways.
They can put it right in there. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you what the student account looks like, and we'll spend a little time looking at that. I'll log out. And again, these are just dummy files that I created. Hold on again. Okay, so now we had Luke is one of the students of Yoda, and here you have some of the, just as I mentioned on the slides earlier, the different categories of topics that they can look into. Now, before I show you everything about this side, this is really for the comprehensive high schools or the vocational high schools or post-secondary schools, the NJCAN junior version for middle schools, or maybe you have some students that are students with disabilities. Maybe they need to have like the middle school version, the 6th grade reading level version. You can go right here, go to NJCAN Junior, and here's what that looks like. The categories are different here because it's on the 6th grade reading level. Yes, question?
Yeah, hi, thank you. I saw the student side last year at the presentation, so I brought my colleagues here because it's really good. One of the questions I asked the state last year, since you mentioned disabilities, I see those pictures up there right now. If I was a blind student and using reader software, my reader software such as JAWS cannot read those pictures to me.
Okay.
And my question to the state last year was, what level of commitment is there for making this fully accessible for all students? Because right now, if I'm blind and one of my students I'm working with is blind, or visually impaired, they would not have any sense or access to those pictures or any graphics.
Okay. Well, to be honest, I am fairly new with the department. I certainly will take that question back. I know that sometimes it takes a little while to get some things answered, or to have some questions answered. So I will check on that. Okay. I know
because
that.
If I put, thank you, I appreciate it. If I put this on our career website, I'm open for a lawsuit by a student who cannot access these materials.
Right, okay.
And that's not my primary concern. My first concern is the equity of having everybody have access to the same materials.
Right, okay. So I'm going to take a moment to write that question down real quick and
Thank
make
you,
sure that I
appreciate
do
that.
address that. And if afterwards, maybe if I can get your information, I can certainly
Absolutely.
let you know
Thank you.
specifically. Sure. Okay, so while I'm multitasking and writing that question down, I just wanted to let you know again the topics there. Who am I? Where am I going? How do I get there? Okay, these are the different types of.
Yeah, it's an alt tag,
Right.
but they don't have any alt
It's
tags.
called universal design. And by February 2018, you have to all be compliant.
Okay, what is the term for that though?
Universal design.
Isn't there another term?
Universal design. And what you have to do is create, we're talking about it here, alt tags. An alt tag is like the balloon over the cartoon character's head. The alt tag would say, picture of 4 young students, 2 males, 2 females.
Right.
So what the state would have to do is pay someone to create the alt tags so the software can read what the picture is.
Okay, and honestly, that could be something that's in the process right now that I haven't heard of at this point, because I know there have been a couple things that we have asked to change. The University of Oregon is the entity that actually runs the website for us. We have an agreement with Into Careers, who is the one that really works on the website. And there are a couple questions that we have out there for changes, and they have to be delayed for whatever thing, whatever situation is happening on their end. So
Are you able just to hit the text-only version at the top right there and see if,
okay.
so would that be,
That would be readable, yes, that would be readable by the software. You would just lose whatever's non-text.
or maybe there's a graphics version?
Okay. Well, maybe we can kind of explore that a little bit more, and I can certainly let you know more about that, and just make sure that we are going to be able to make it just as presentable to any student who is blind or any student with a disability as it would be for everybody else. So
Thank you.
I worked with many individuals with disabilities very early on in my career, so would like to address that too. Okay, so this is the NJCAN junior version, and just again, very simple, where am I going, or who am I, where am I going, how do I get there, and they do have the ability to have their portfolio. Okay, back to the main version of NJCAN. Just because there's so many similarities between the two, NJCAN Junior and the NJCAN website itself, I thought it would be really good to help to show you all the different items that are listed here. So we have Luke's profile pulled up here, his account pulled up here. Planning, is very simple. Career plan, course planner. Okay, a couple different ways that they can go, directions that they can take to figure out how they want to get started. The assessments are in here as well, and I mentioned a couple to you. There's the career cluster inventory. There is an interest profiler, and then there's an interest profiler short form. The career cluster inventory, let's try to go back here. Okay, this is what it looks like. It's very simple, and this is one of the ones that I had my children use just to get them excited or interested, and they took off with it. So simple things, go fishing. There's 80 questions here. This is a career cluster inventory. I'm going to show you what the results look like, but what a student will do is go in and answer the questions, and just like, a personality assessment or any other career assessment, you just want to answer the question without thinking too deeply into it. Do you like fishing? Yes or no? Very much like, not sure, or dislike. So you just go through the different questions, and then it'll come up with some results. Okay? The interest profiler, this one has 180 activities, and this is just like, unsure, or dislike. So same thing, okay? The student may be interested in taking both of those assessments to see if their results match one to the other, okay? And then there is a short form, so maybe if you're doing this in class, you might want to just do the short form where there's 60 different questions, but they're a little bit more, they're asking a little bit more detailed. It's not just like, unsure, or dislike. Now they're asking strongly like, unsure, or dislike, or strongly dislike. Okay? So a lot of different questions that you can ask. So I'm going to show you what the assessment results look like for a couple of these. Okay? So what I did now, I went to the portfolio. It comes up where are the pages and results I've saved. Okay? And here the career cluster inventory. And we have the restore answer set number 2. And let me just actually go back real quick, because you can also take notes, and I just want to point that out. My thoughts. Luke took this assessment a couple times, and he's my thoughts. Okay, STEM seems like a good fit for me. I will look into the CTE program for STEM. Okay, and this is what those results will actually look like. Okay, so it's a career cluster inventory. You're breaking your results down into one of the career clusters. Where are your strongest, where were your strongest interests compared to least strong interests? So STEM was one of the top ones there. Information technology, law, public safety, corrections and security, manufacturing, TEL. So now, if you're really interested and excited, the student, okay, well, yeah, I really was interested in something, maybe engineering. I don't really know a whole lot of opportunities that are out there. Well, what can I learn? Well, if you click on that, it brings you to this science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And this is where I tell you where, the website is really easy to use. It's user-friendly. There's so many different ways that you can get to this page. If you go into the occupations or the clusters index, the titles index, you're going to get to the same place. So you'll see it in multiple different ways, the same type of information. So a student, okay, well, I want to learn about science, technology, engineering, mathematics. It gives me an overview. What are the pathways to get there? Okay, well, aerospace and engineers, that looks like a pretty neat job. Let me click on that. And now I learn a little bit about that. Okay, aerospace engineer. Well, they make a lot of money, $116,000. It's a small occupation, very few annual job openings. Well, what do I need to do to prepare for that? Okay, well, I need to have a high school diploma, working on that. Oh, I do need to have a bachelor's degree, okay, have a license. What are the working conditions like? What are the wages? Okay, employment and outlook. So on the left side, you see all these topics. The student can look at more closely into the aerospace engineer job. You can also compare positions, compare jobs. Okay, so we already have the aerospace and engineers listed there. Okay, maybe I want to consider, actually let me go back. Maybe I want to be an aircraft mechanic. Okay, I'm going to compare them both. So you see here, same list of topics on the left-hand side of the screen, and it shows you, side by side, what are the differences? Okay, how do I get there? What do I have to do? All right, what courses would be helpful for me to take? So you see over here, helpful high school courses, licensing, certification, again, wages, employment outlook. Okay, so what do you think about it so far? Good? And it's free, and it's easy to use. Question?
Where does the at-a-glance data come from? So for example, the wage information and the job opening information, like the number of jobs, where does that data come from?
It looks like the occupational outlook handbook.
It is from Occupational Outlook Handbook. As far as I recall, that's where it is coming from. But it is a reliable source that's like a federal entity. Okay. All right, any questions? Oh, yes.
And it will give you information for outside of New Jersey.
Yes. Well, it will. You can do a search. You can do a search on other states. Let me just see if that's something that's easily accessible in here. Let me see for wages. It gives you a general location in this area. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. All right. So back to the different, I talked about the plan, the career plan, the course planner. We talked about these assessments. I showed you some of those results. I'm going to go over this section here for, we looked at the occupation section is really kind of the same. What I just started to show you a little bit, where you look at one specific occupation, you can compare it to another one, and then you can see all the different topics on that one side, remember the left-hand side, where you can do that searching for the additional information resources. You can plan your high school courses. So this is the occupation. Sorry, I guess it did just go right over to the education side. Okay, the occupation section here, again, kind of goes into the same thing. There's the occupation sort, where you can identify some of your interests. So let me just show you that real quick. It goes along with the, it's another type of assessment. It's another type of way to narrow down results of your interests. So with this method, there's several of these sorts that are listed on the site here. This is the occupation sort. There's a financial aid sort as well. And really all you do here is prioritize your interests. And what will happen when you prioritize your interests, and let's see here, I'm just going to pick a couple of these. Let's see here, attention to detail. Okay, so maybe I want a job that provides a lot of attention to detail. I want a job with math or science. Okay, maybe I want to work with my hands. Hit continue, and it's going to say, okay, it's going to talk about the factors. Okay, well, how much do you want to have a job that really pays attention to detail? Well, maybe just somewhat or a lot. I'll just click a lot. That's one of the skills that I find I do well with. Okay, so check all the levels that you're willing to consider. Well, attention to detail, I'll do a lot, I'll do somewhat, a great deal, and then I'll go to the next. Remember, I clicked on 3 different items to sort. You can pick 10, you can pick 15, but the less that you pick, it's really up to the student how many you want to choose. So right now, there was only 4 that were excluded out of the list of the different occupations. Now there's 554 left. So let's go to the next factor. Okay, how much do you want to use math or science as part of a job? Well, a great deal. Then it's going to ask me, well, is it just have to be a great deal, or will you be willing to accept a lot? Or a little or somewhat? Well, I really want a lot. Okay, now you see the results, 190. It just eliminated another 364 factors. Next factor. How much do you want to work with your hands as part of a job? Well, I really do like working with my hands, so I'm going to just say a great deal. I remember the high school student, sometimes they're not going to want to budge on things like this. They're going to want to, they're just going to, no, I really want it to be a great deal, so I'm just going to say a great deal. So I'm eliminating 85%, well, that's okay, let's see what happens. Okay, so I have 27 positions. So now I'm going to click continue, and it's going to show me the options, and here we are. Okay, so the 27 occupations, based on those 3 different items that I chose, it sorts it. How easy is that, right? It's really easy, and the kids are going to like this kind of thing. It's interactive, it's fun. I think it's fun, and I'm not in high school. It's been 20 years. So, I mean, but are you getting that too? Do you think that this is something that would really work? Do you think there's students that think it's fun? Maybe it's just because I have 4 kids and I don't get out much that I really like this stuff. Like on Friday nights, I'm like Googling jobs and stuff, so. Yes, question?
I actually used this late, I'm new to this, so I wanted to explore, but I would go in and I have transition coordinators, so I have all special ed for the whole district.
Okay.
So I could go in and assess the middle schoolers. And like even everyone in every school, we have 5 middle schools, really.
Okay, wow.
By the time I left, I couldn't leave because they wouldn't stop
Right.
going to talk about it and ask me questions and go further into it. So it engaged all of them.
Yeah, that's great to hear. It's great. And honestly, I mean, my 6-year-old was a month later, Aunt, Mom, can we do that again? They want this, and they're technology-age kids. So this is really, it's like a game. This is a video game that you can call it a video game to the young kids who they don't really know the difference. It's fun for them. It's exciting for them, and I mean, I don't know how many of you would agree, but back when we were in high school or middle school, this wasn't really, career information wasn't as known out there. The terms for jobs were different then, and now we're using them more frequently in our conversation. And I keep on going back to STEM because of how popular it is and how it's in so much demand right now and in need. Well, what is STEM? We have to spell it out to kids. It's science, technology, engineering, mathematics. They like this stuff. And that's where our future is, heading in these directions with technology. We want to use these type of resources that are free and easy to use to help us and with our students. So I'm glad to hear that it's working for the young kids. That's great. So as you see here, just the same thing as we had looked at before. Okay, well maybe he wants to see, what does an airplane pilot do? Or maybe an automobile mechanic or science technician. Let's see, what does a science technician do? Compared to the aerospace engineer, this position pays a lot less. Let's go back and compare that, because that's kind of important to me. The wages that I'll be earning with my job. Okay, so let's go back now. This is the high school student thinking. Let's go back and see those results again. Science technician, aerospace engineer. Okay, well let's see what are the helpful high school courses that I'm going to need. Okay, well computer applications, computer science, well that's about the same. Computer applications is over here. Computer science is over here. This one I need technical writing. This one I need assistant design. And I need probability and statistics. Okay, well I'm a math person. I think that would be fun. Let's see what kind of license and certification. Okay, so engineer in training, professional engineer. Okay, you can look at these different licenses. And let's go back, wages again. Okay, that's a big difference to me. I went to a junior achievement workshop a couple weeks ago. There was 5 different high schools from Camden that attended this junior achievement workshop, which was fantastic. It was just amazing. The students were so, they go in there shy. They're kind of like, oh, I'm just going to be here to just be cool. And then by the end of the day, they're like, wow, this is awesome. This is so much great information. At the end of the day, they gave the students an opportunity to talk about what they want to do, what are their priorities, what are the top 3 things that you want to have in a career. I'll tell you that out of the 20 or so students that went up there and spoke in front of their peers, many of whom they didn't know, most of them, I would say 90% of them said, I want to make a lot of money. How many of you would disagree with that? Anyone would disagree with that? That students, all they want to do, I want to make a lot of money. Let's feed them what they want. This website will feed them what they want. And it's not us telling them, if you're a dental assistant, you're not going to make as much as you're a dentist if you want to go that far. Or if you're an animal caretaker, you could make a lot more if you're a veterinarian. My daughter wants to open up a pet store. Honey, that's fine if you want to open up a pet store. You have to, this is all you want to do to get to that point. So then they see, what are the big results? Well, to them right now, their biggest result, how much am I going to make? How much am I going to make? Right? This is eye-opening to them, and remember, it's them learning this without us telling them, which gives them power and strength to take control of what they want to do. They're going to be that much more interested in doing better on that math class. That's going to inspire them to do better on that math class or science class or any classes that they're taking. It's them driving that inspiration. Yes?
So did you say that this is
This is for high schoolers and college students, or?
It's really for anybody who wants to use it, but the purpose, it was built for a secondary, post-secondary, middle school.
So is beyond this level that you're showing us, is there more for, say, the college?
There's not more for college, but there's an education piece of it where you can still do the same thing. I think at any point in our lives, this is a worthwhile website to use, because even for someone that's 40 and wants to change careers and go back to school for something, or just figure out a different way to get to another point in their career path, all the resources are here. Everything you need. Yes?
I work with special ed high school students, and a lot of my juniors and seniors are very apathetic, and a lot of times they can't read this on their own, and they're too old for me to sit there and read it with them. They don't like that either. So do you suggest I use the junior version for them? That will be something they could, because I don't mind giving them my laptop and sit for an hour and work on it on your own. If you need help, let me know, because it's inappropriate for me to be sitting there reading it for them.
Right.
It's demeaning to them.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I mean, who knows the difference? We don't have to tell them it's the NJCAN junior version, really. You can just set them up there.
Okay, so that would just be better for them to do independently.
Absolutely. And so, and really, like I said, the only difference is that 6th grade reading level. It also is available in Spanish. Most of this is available in Spanish, which you'll see a little link at the top. Let me see if it's right on the screen.
And it gives similar information?
It does. It really does.
It gives you a more basic level, which might be better for them.
Exactly.
Initially.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Exactly. Great question.
The thing you just mentioned about the Spanish thing, I had to do a ESL class, and that was the one thing I did find. In the assessments, it would translate, but there's a lot of it that doesn't translate, so that might be a suggestion.
Okay.
Have all of it translate.
Yeah, okay. I believe that they're working on that a little bit more. Even just like technology updates, it's, there's so many updates that you have to make over and over again, so but I'll definitely bring that up and make sure. Let me just put that down on my notes here. Okay. So, so does everyone feel pretty comfortable with the site so far? Okay, I want to just go through and show you that reality check in here, because I think it's very good timing to bring this up, especially since we're talking about the income side. The same information that we had been talking about is in this education piece and this employment piece. You'll see there's the resume creator. Just to pull that up, you can add your information, okay? So education and training. So Luke had put in some, I don't know if he's just goofing off or something, but Jedi Master Training, he's got it here. So we'll just kind of stop there, and then I'll show you these assessments, reality check, okay? So this is where I think and I had my daughter and son do this, and I just thought it was really cool, because they were actually pretty practical. So I'm going to let you be the drivers in this activity here. All right, we're going to start with our own reality check. And by the way, when you come up to this site here, there's a 2-minute video here where you can see this gentleman who's getting out of school. He wants to have this big fancy car, big fancy house, and then by the time he's done everything, he has like a cat, or I don't even know. But it's pretty eye-opening to see for students, because again, students are in the driver's seat. Let's pretend we're students and go ahead and try this. So start your reality check. Where do you want to live? So anybody decide, where do you want to live? But let me pull the drop down. We did actually ask, because we realized that students may not know everywhere in New Jersey. We did ask the company to highlight the different areas of the state, or just pinpoint the areas so they'll know exactly where, the Trenton Ewing area is, or Vineland, North Jersey and South Jersey. Obviously there's, a large geographical difference in these locations. So where would you guys like to search?
New York, White Plains.
New York, White Plains. That's what I heard first. Okay, I was never a teacher, so the raise your hand thing is, I don't do that all the time. So, next thing, reality check. What type of housing will you need? 2-bedroom? 2-bedroom? I thought my daughter was going to say live with parents or house. She went with the 3-bedroom apartment. I said, okay, not bad. Okay, so next thing. Which utilities will you need?
All of the above.
All the above. Okay, so here we are, all of them. Okay? Which communication services will you need? Remember, kind of the high school student or, you know, cell phone, cable, internet. How about a house regular phone? No, we don't want mom and dad calling on the house phone if they can't get me on my cell phone. Okay? Where will you eat? Eat at home? Okay. You think combo? We'll do combo. It sounds like most of you. Okay. And what will you use for transportation?
No, they won't.
How much clothing will you need?
A lot.
So higher? Okay. This is another one my daughter was like, you know, I think I'm good with medium. I have one girl and 3 boys, and she's like, just go medium. I'm like, good. I'm teaching her to be like, you know, humble a little bit, you know. But yeah. Okay. What will you do for health care? Well, that's questionable right now, I think. Very much so. Okay, so through work. Where we are. Buying insurance through work. All right. And what will you do for entertainment?
Higher.
You think higher?
Yes.
Okay.
They need the That's why I put it up there. That's what it is.
Wow. And how much personal care do you need?
Oh, wow.
High?
Yeah.
Higher. So higher, higher. Okay. And how much will you spend on miscellaneous items?
Higher.
You think so? How many favorite higher? I'm getting a lesson today. Really higher. Wow. Okay. Wow. And how much will you spend on student loans? Maybe that should be the first question. That should be the first question. I should ask them to change that. What do you think? We'll do associate's degree?
Yeah, do.
Bachelor's? All right. And how much money will you save? 0? 10%? We'll go maybe 5 in the middle. All right. Adding it all up. So here you go. What do you think?
That's the reality check. That's the reality check.
Yeah. How awesome is this? How awesome. I'm really, like, it can't get better than that. Because again, you have a student using something that's free, easy to use, and they are in control. We're not telling them what they have to be and how they have to get there. This is the world telling them how to do it. And here you go, $82,000.
What does that mean, investigate family?
Good question. Investigate family. So, how many children do you want someday? Yeah. 2? We'll just do 2, just to see.
2 children cost $23.60 a month per house.
So then you have, yep. So then your expense leaves. So now look at how much more your expenses are.
Yeah, this is perfect.
Per month. So good? Yay or nay? Yay or nay? That's wonderful. Yeah, very good. So there's a few more things that I want to just go over with you quickly, because I know that we have about 15 minutes left in the class, in the workshop today. So this is the reality check. And if you're working with your students, start with this if you want. Give them their username and password. Say, here,
I think that's the first.
do this, and then call me. You do this, and then come and talk to me when you're done. And we'll kind of go from there. Start backwards. How much do you want to make? Like I said, 90% of the students that I talked to in that workshop, they said that money is their biggest motivator. Show them the money, and then how do you get there?
So the assumption for us that picking the location in the beginning is going to dictate that taxes, everything for these calculations.
Exactly. Right. And if you're looking outside of New Jersey, there's the Career One Stop website that you can use to there's the various other Bureau of Statistics has a little link for some employment information and location, wages, and things like that too.
So is there a way that, let's say a student did this and they're like, like, okay, so I want to find a job that's like 82. Can they do a search based upon the salary?
I'm not sure if you can do it based on salary or not. Let's see.
Because like, let's say they're like, okay, so this is where I need to find my job based on what I'm going to earn.
You may not be able to do a search right through here, but it'll probably take you to other sites that you can. Like I know Indeed.com, you can do a search by salary, so it probably will feed you to other ways that you can do a search based on salary alone. Okay? Good question. Okay, so I want to show you what a parent account looks like because we do want parents to be involved. That's a huge factor. It's a huge important factor that we want to try to encourage them when we have our conferences or any meetings with them. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here one more time, and I'm going to show you what the parent account looks like. Did you see this coming at all? Anybody see that coming? Darth Vader?
That's the parent. That's the parent.
Okay. So here is Luke Skywalker's portfolio with Anakin Skywalker as the parent and view portfolio content. These are the different items that you are welcome to look at. So I'm just going to select all, okay, and view selected items. It's going to have it load up. And as you see, a personalized student learning plan. Okay? So this is what the parent can look at, the educational goals, the plan, knowledge, okay? And while the student, and like I said, I created this account just to show you some examples. So I filled in, when I went through and just plugged in some information, you can take notes, what I learned. What am I learning about myself as I'm going through here? You can date it too. So I didn't work on the courses yet, okay? The graduation requirements, test scores, I didn't fill any of that out yet, but I do know, Princeton has that engineering program that I'm interested in, okay? Doing that school searching, okay? So this is what it looks like for the personalized student learning plan, and this is what the parent can review, okay? So I want to go ahead and stop there with the site, and there's a couple other things that I wanted to just talk about, going back to our slides here, as far as what happens next, okay? Now that we have all the information on how to use the NJCAN website, there's the next step of life that we have to also think about, okay? We use these resources to decide what kind of education we want, what school we want to use, what kind of financial aid, because financial aid is another part of that. We use the site to work on our resume, to do some job searching, to find a job. That's where a lot of people think, okay, good luck. There's so much more involved at that critical next step that, especially the military, when I was working with them, they were like, really? Wow. Career ready practices, okay? Those skills to get the job. We have the knowledge now, we have the ability to get the job. How do you get it? What are those next things that we need to know? So I thought I would just take a few minutes here to kind of wrap up a couple things here. Job searching and excitement. When I was working for the Department of Labor with working with the military, they said that there's one way to get a job. The number one way to get a job is through, anyone know? Networking, right. Okay, you want to make sure you're tailoring your resume. So as a student is working on the resume, and you may have students that are, older, or maybe they come back to you and have some questions. Well, I put my resume out there, how do I get them to look at me? Tailoring your resume. Oh, really? Again, the military I worked with, I always go back to them because they're people that went through high school and they also had a job and they're still confused. And they have more marketable skills than someone who's just getting out of high school. Okay, or just getting out of community college. Like, these people have those skills and they're still clueless. So that's why the Department of Labor and Department of Defense said, we need to teach you these skills. In 5 days, we're going to teach you these skills so you can be more successful. Okay, 1% of the population is getting that, but we know this knowledge, and that's why I'm sharing it with you, because it's important for us to keep that in mind working with the students as they get ready to progress. Tailor your resume to the job, okay? If you had a paper route when you were 12, you don't need to put that in your resume if you also volunteered at the animal shelter and you want to work at an animal, at a pet store when you're going to school, or as a part-time job or whatever. Okay, time for the job interview. So that's the next big step. And that's where those career ready practices really come into play. Soft skills, okay? Remember, employers right now are complaining about the lack of personality that students have getting a job and how they can give up on themselves so quickly and easily, okay? And so we want to make sure that students are really, getting those skills, which is really hard to teach, of those career ready practices. So my question to you, what part of a job interview, think about the job interviews that you've been in, what part of the job interview does not include some reflection of one of the 12 career ready practices? Any part of the job interview that you can think of? Same here. I say no. Really, no matter what small detail, even financial responsibility. Well, you're going to talk about salary when you're getting a job, whether you're 18 or 22 or 50. It doesn't matter. At some point in life, these career ready practices skills are going to be present for you to address. And we want to try to do it early on so we know how to be financially responsible and a contributing citizen, etc. Okay, mistakes are avoidable. Now we're kind of moving forward a job interview. So I have here the definition of mistake. To blunder, Merriam-Webster says, to blunder in the choice of. A mistake is to blunder in the choice of. So I go back to those career ready practices. Top interview mistakes. Career builder. This is something I used to teach in the military, a career builder. They surveyed recruiters, headhunters, and hiring managers. I'd like to know what you guys think. What are the top 7 interview mistakes that someone can make?
Arriving late.
Arriving late? Not preparing?
Wrong attire. Keeping their
Wrong
phone
attire?
out and on.
Keeping your phone on?
No follow.
Eye contact? No follow
No
through?
research before they come in here.
No research?
Not asking questions.
Not asking questions. Okay, good. Anyone else? All right, so this is kind of like a little Jeopardy thing here. We're going to start from the bottom. We're going to start with number 7. Number 7. Not sending a thank you note after the job interview. And honestly, with the junior achievement workshop I went to a couple weeks ago, there was someone from business who said that. If you don't send me a thank you note after the job interview, your resume is getting in the other pile. Students, do the students know that right now? Do people in their 20s know that right now? It's a big secret. I used to tell the military. These are the secrets to getting a job, and by the way, they're easy to fix. You just write a thank you note. Don't be rude, just write a thank you note. Just say thank you. It could be an email, but just say thank you. It's polite. Good manners.
You say, write a thank you note. Is an email the same as writing a thank you note?
Depending on the employer, yes or no. I'll tell you something though, in my knowledge and my experiences, a handwritten note is like unheard of now. It might make a bigger impact. Or if we get lost in the mail, you can do both. But no matter what, just sending a thank you note, 12%. And I think that's a pretty big number. All right, number 6, not asking good questions during a job interview. Not asking good questions. 29% of recruiters, headhunters, and hiring managers say not asking good questions. All right, number 5, insufficient answers. Again, it's kind of not being prepared. You have to research ahead of time before you interview for a job. You want to research. You don't want to just go in there and twiddle your thumbs like, oh, I'm just going to wing it. You can't wing it. Students can't wing it. They need to know. They need to have that knowledge. And knowledge is power. That's very cliche, but it is. And if we know that we need to be more thorough in our answers, we coach them and explain that, maybe they'll do it a little bit better. Even for the jobs that the younger generation just out of school are getting, those entry-level jobs, it still makes a difference. Okay? Even for promotions, if they know these skills, they can get that promotion much more quickly than some of the other people who've been there maybe a couple years and don't have those people skills, those soft skills, those career-ready practices in a greater detail. Number 4, arrogance. Okay. So again, I know I talk about the military stuff that I've done a lot. So I had a gentleman, and because I worked with people who were in the military, very junior military, who'd only been in for a couple years or so, up to, I had a general, 5-star general in my class, which I kind of think is neat, and I think that's pretty cool. And I had this gentleman who was retiring from the military, and he said, yeah, I went to this job interview, and I was talking to the employer, and it was with like 2 other men that I interviewed with, and they said to me, so why should I hire you? And he said, because I'm awesome. I don't know if he really did the thumbs up, but in my head he did, because why would you say that? And you're like 40-some years old, why would you say that? Because I'm awesome. No. It just goes back to those career-ready practices. Back up, you're not awesome, you're there to show them how you can do the job well, how you can communicate effectively, it all goes the same. Career planning, you know, preparing these kids for moving on to a successful career. At any point in their lives, whether they're 18 or 40, it doesn't matter. These skills are all things to learn as we grow, and the younger they learn, the better practice that they're going to, you know, the better they're going to rehearse them and do well with them. Appearing disinterested, it kind of goes along with being arrogant. 48%. I'm not really interested. Yeah, it's like the whole idea of body language, crossing your arm. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, I like to fix things in my house, so I kind of want to have a job at the auto shop. Well, you know, be confident. Yeah, I really like fixing things. I love to take my car apart and put it back together. I really think I could do well with that with working with your auto body shop if you would hire me. So, you know, it's just be interested. Show them that you care. Show them that you want to do it. Number 2. Bad mouthing a former boss. Yeah, 49%. Okay, but if we know that, you won't do it, right? We realize that it's, yeah, knowledge is power. And it doesn't have to be a former boss. It could be a former colleague, a buddy. You know, you don't want to talk badly about a friend or a teacher. You know, these students, just tell them, you know, be polite. It's just manners. It's what happened to manners. Be polite, okay? Don't badmouth anyone. What do you think is the number 1? Who said that? Way to dress. I find a gold star. Yes, dressing inappropriately. So again, these are easy things to fix. Before a student tells you, hey, I have an interview coming up for the auto shop, I'm really excited about it, okay? Tell them to, you know, wear something decent. Don't wear the jeans with your boxers hanging out. I don't know if they still do that. I think that was in the 90s maybe, but maybe it's coming back. But yes, dress appropriately. Put on something decent. You know, iron your shirt. Okay, I know someone who they were running late to an interview. They ironed the front of their shirt. He gets to the job interview in the summertime. He had his jacket on over top. The air conditioner was broken in the office. So they said, kindly, you know, come on in, get comfortable, take your jacket off. Well, there's like 5 other people at the table. They all have their jackets off. He's not going to say, I'm cold. It's like 90 degrees outside and the air's broken in the office. So he had to take his jacket off, sleeves wrinkled all over because he didn't take that time. You have to, you know, it's a good thing to know. And again, it's, you know, to a student in high school, maybe this doesn't matter to them so much, but it's important for them to know because it's not going to change as time goes on. These are important things to know. Okay, I know we just have 1 more minute here. 4 stages of the interview: introductory, employer questions, candidate questions, and a closing stage. So as you're going through a job interview, these are some things that a student may want to be familiar with. Okay, I'm introducing myself, the employer's going to ask questions. I have to have questions ready to ask the employer. Okay, good for me to know that. And there's a closing stage where you say thank you, right? So dress for success. First impressions are lasting. Finish this sentence. Don't forget to smile. Smile, okay? Be friendly. That shows people skills. That shows personality, good communication. It's polite to do that. It's just like that Undercover Boss show. Anyone ever see that? Yeah, be nice to everybody. Smile, be polite. Okay, and don't forget to say thank you. Okay, well, that being said, I want to thank you all very much for being here today. I appreciate your joining me with this NJCAN presentation. I hope you learned something. I hope you get excited about the website just as much as I am. If you have some additional questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you as you make your way back to